us, those that are joining in now. It is a Monday, today is 18th of March. We are broadcasting live from Kampala, Uganda. Um, First of all, I welcome you all from that long weekend from Thursday last week up to today. Hope you have been doing good, guys, that already support our shows. Um, for those that are watching us from different social media platform, that is YouTube, Black Hotfire Network 2, and Facebook, Black Hotfire Network radio station, and Twitter, Black Hotfire New One. Thank you for watching us. Tebala. How is it that Tebala? You don't even know about the Tebala Tebala. Such a good do. It's Tebala.
Yeah, have a network.
Sisuri. 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 Sisuri 91. So, kirazi nakula tulayo. So, what is it that it's not counting? Who's a key? Let's start with vegetable. You know, Korea,
Well, you're welcome on Black Hotfire Network. For those who are watching us live, we are trying to. I don't know why it's like that.
take it.
Anti kyongamba tujingira ng'abalabi awo. Otuli mujingira ng'abalabi. I don't know. Are we audible for those who are watching us? How tujja kubalira wali obudde.
Yeah, can just have a minute, you can have Mondays with me.
Maybe stand to work. Wonderful. Nobody had said in the right to too. No, it's what I'm from. Orientation was job. Mubaddeko baganje.
okulaba nga tetulina engeri gye twerabamu kyokka eneeba nkerako
Sorry for that. I've been trying to check. We had some display errors. Probably you guys were not seeing them, but this side we were seeing them. Um, our video could not show us whether we are live and then the time. So that's why we are trying to check around like what's going on. So I guess we shall have to use our normal watches to check the time and make sure that we are right on time. So thank you again for those who have just come in. Thank you so much for loving and supporting Black Wi-Fi Network. Africa Maria from Kampala, Uganda, with my colleague. And also to take you through this, of course, today's topic is cybersecurity landscape in Africa. I know cyber issues have been so rampant of late with the new era of course, technology, apparently. And yeah, the world is trying as much as possible to make sure, that they put measures in place. You know that hmm, cybersecurity is a critical field focused on protecting computer system networks, data, and digital assets from unauthorized access, cyber attacks, and other security threats. So as our society becomes increasingly reliant on technology and digital infrastructure, cybersecurity has become a crucial concern for individuals, business, governments, um, and organizations worldwide. Of course, have focused a lot on the cyber security. Now we know that we have seen different cyber threats that, of course, have taken various forms, including malware such as viruses, worms, and others that attack our distributed denial of services. And we have seen the attacks of social engineering, insider threats, and more. Of course, the threats aim to compromise the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of information and the system. So we know that when it comes to Africa and the cyber-related issues, Africa as a whole, the Africans don't really know the laws that govern this whole system.
yakiimubamutegeeza ekintu kino nkubiri tetugenda kukolera bwereere
byagamba tubibala abikirako mu kifo ky'okkola oyimiridde tukubulamu kamera lwakati naye kintu kyadoboozi tebakula
kamera
ekyo time kireke kizoba nti kukya time nga bingi wali kasita kibeerawo abazuuzi
I see you guys. I can't hear you guys, but I see you guys. Well, say something.
we are cool. Do you hear us? Are we
No,
audible?
say something again.
Are we audible enough now?
Okay, yes. Okay, let me see. Let me see if I see you guys. What channel you guys on? You guys. Let me see what channel you guys are on. I see you guys on StreamYard. Give me a second. What channel you guys on YouTube? Second, yes, like I fired up with YouTube. Okay. Hey, you guys are getting good with your thumb. Your thumbnails are good. Let me see this. Yeah, you guys are live. You guys.
We are not seeing the display of time. I don't know how we are going even to know that time and everything. I don't know why the display has changed.
I see you guys display right there. You guys have been on for 15 minutes. It says live 15 minutes. I see it on my end.
Oh my God, India. Okay. All right. So I guess we shall have to.
Yeah, see it's live. It's live on my end when I'm looking at you guys on StreamYard. And you guys are live right now on YouTube, TikTok, and not TikTok, but Twitter and whatever the other one's called. Yeah, you guys are live. So, and I see the display. I don't know. That's something wrong with you guys' computer. I see your display is on mine because I see it. I'm saying 15, 53, 54, 55. You guys have been on here 16 minutes.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Kasooka neereega. eno gwagenda givugavuga maamu byogera nange nalondamu bwensinzira.
So um, I hope we are loud and clear, just like Keith say. Um, Cybersecurity landscape in Africa. Very many African countries have, of course, fallen prey of cyber insecurity. So, uh, minority of African countries have put out, of course, have put out strategies on how they are going to handle the issue of cyber security and insecurity. So, what to start with South Africa's cyber security landscape in 2024, we know that things concerning security, we can't like security is a wide thing in this era because there are a lot of people that can be harassed online. A government can be threatened to a government can be threatened to even an overthrow through through what is called cyber technology. When the Russia-Ukrainian war had just started, we used to see soldiers posing out for photos after, of course, capturing some areas. Russian armies capturing photos, selfies. What does that mean? That cyber issues are so crucial in this era. Anything someone can threaten the government through cyber. That's why very many countries are putting out strategies on how they are going to handle their cyber technology because cases are rising in Africa due to cyber insecurity. So when we look at, of course, what South Africa did, South Africa's cyber security landscape in 2024, we see that South Africa is going to multi-ed security, where multi-ed security is a key strategy for TASAS on demand and partners in 2023 and will remain so in 2024. Says that we see that cyber threats are becoming more sophisticated, just like I said, and diverse, relying on a single security layer is actually a no sufficient. So a lot of countries have tried to put a lot of strategies on how they are going to handle, like they are going to handle their security, their cyber world, their cyber technology. Because there are a lot of African countries that have gone in for elections, but all the, of course, the election issues have been put down due to cyber security. A lot of documents have been stolen from government plans, government offices due to through cybersecurity. A lot of viruses. When you look into viruses in Africa, we have a lot of computer viruses. They create all these viruses in order to, of course, to take information out of Africa. They send these viruses to, of course, computers, government computers, and other organizations to get information that is concerned about Africa. Um, Cyber security threats have, of course, indeed posed challenges to peace and security in Africa. We see that emerging threat actors, we see that the state and non-state actors play a significant role in cyber threats. We see that they employ various tactics to achieve their social, political, and economic objectives. So, a lot of actors, a lot of state actors, and non-state actors in very many African governments have used this chance of cyber security to attack opponents and win actually because it is so crucial in this. So we see that misinformation campaigns and cybercrime has a rampant due to increased mobile phone and internet penetration on the continent. All the phones we have in African countries, these are it is actually in Africa, if not South Africa and Rwanda. I don't know any other country that makes phone in Africa. At least their security, their cyber security is somehow stable. But all the phones we use in almost other African countries, these are phones that we import from US, these are phones that we import from China, most especially China that we use. So um, these phones are penetrated, the internet is penetrated, the VPNs we use in Africa. All these things are called insecurities in African countries. So it is better for actually most of the African countries before actually we look at other things that are now good, like are not adding value to Africa. We should also focus because this is not a lie. All like if you can visit most of the African countries, you can find a home without even lights inside their house, but they have smartphones. So smartphones, computers are everywhere, and this has actually made Africa to be in the middle of threats. So online election interference has emerged as a major concern impacting peace and of course we see that the economic impact, we see that Africa faces one of the highest cyber rates globally, affecting economic growth and development. In 2017, the continent lost nearly 4 billion USD dollars to cybercrime, with countries like Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa being significantly affected. We saw we are seeing that most of the companies, most of the banks have been attacked by these cyber crimes. A lot of money has been withdrawn from African banks without trace due to cyber criminals. You know, criminals everywhere. Criminals are everywhere. So increased internet use. We see that with approximately 40% of the Africans using the internet, the cyberspace has become a critical area for state and non-state interaction. So the continent is growing population and global influence makes cybersecurity a pressing concern. So uh, uh, when we look at South Africa and other countries where cyber crimes are so much, like people have fear in those countries. People have fear to keep money in banks. People have fear to uh, to trust online things. One time, I think it was in 2018, uh, like I was helping some people register their company. No, someone told me, you know, it is very easy for you to register online, to register the country online rather than wasting transport, wasting stuff. And I told this guy, why can't you register the company online? The girl denied. The girl said, one time I wanted to scan my documents. I was in a certain area. They were like, we don't want to scan the documents. So people don't trust these of course cyber issues so much, so this has created fear, but this is where we are going. Very few people are doing analog things now, analog stuff. People migrated already to digitalization. So um European utilization of cybersecurity to threaten African governments is, of course, multifaceted issue with implications of peace, security, and development on the continent. So we see that cybersecurity threat actors in Africa, the state and non-state I talked about, both state-sponsored and non-state, I talked about that. Um, So uh, we also uh, we also have like those governments in Africa, like I talked about, like cyber governance in Africa. A lot of countries like put measures that govern cyber security. So cyber governance in Africa is a critical area of concern as the continent grapples with the challenges posed by increasing internet penetration and of course digital technology advancements. So we see that capacity building beyond surveillance efforts to enhance cyber capacity should actually extend beyond developing surveillance. So instead, they should encompasses areas like direct intelligence, critical infrastructure protection, and securing government communications. So, balancing the benefits of security sector involving the cyberspace with the risks of diminishing trust with the private sector and potential rights violation is crucial in African countries because we know that to govern the use of cyber capacities effectively, African countries need to develop legal, judicial, and other horizontal accountability mechanisms. Do you know that in USA, it is very easy, however much they may be having a lot of technologies in USA, but like their internet, their movements on internet, they are monitored. It is very easy to monitor someone in USA through internet. But it is not the same case in Africa. Yes, yet a lot of technologies are flowing into African countries. Technologies that we don't even need in our daily lives, but they are flowing into African countries without the right procedures to use, without like how should we use this information? Is this information, all these technologies, are they right to populations, to such populations, to different, of course, populations, but we don't have that governance within African countries where and when we should use these kinds of technologies. One time I was told, like I had in newspapers, like the government was like, uh, for you to be having a drone camera, let it be for functional, like you're going to shoot functions, parties, stuff. So the government of Uganda was like, for you to possess um, a drone camera, you have to register. You have to register with the government to know you that INNOSSETU is having, of course, a drone camera. So,
Right.
So Africa, with the rapid technological advancements, faces cybersecurity challenges that have a far-reaching consequences. As we see that is mobile banking in African countries is also vulnerable to this kind of cybersecurity challenges. We see that Africa leads to the world in mobile banking, so making it a prime target for cyber criminals. A lot of uh, a lot of people, their money has been withdrawn from phones, and whenever these people are withdrawing money, they don't withdraw too much money at a go. They may take like 50 every day, but they make sure their withdrawals are constant. So banks which are heavily reliant on online transactions face significant risks. So cyber criminals exploit mobile devices and online banking systems to intercept personal credentials and steal money. The financial sector, we know that experiences 300% more cyber attacks than any other industry in Africa.
Mm.
because people are focusing on money. So internet growth and risks. We see that internet growth in Africa has surged by over 850 8,500% since 2000. So in 2019, Africa had over 55,000 internet users, representing 11% of the world's total population. So Africa takes in 2019 took over
You have
11.5%.
never seen a scenario where you of course load you go to an ATM machine when you want to withdraw and then you put in some digits and the machine brings more than what you have asked for, even when it's not on your account. Anything like that. I've also seen a scenario where I think is it Airtel was invaded. Sorry, some I think that it was a cyber attack when you would go to withdraw money on Airtel, it would bring more than what you've requested for. And these mobile money people were now getting more than what, and it happened for a very short time, for something like 15 minutes. People were quick, they started withdrawing rapidly, those people on mobile money. So I think usually in this kind of scenarios is when probably uh, people have launched an attack.
Just few dakika tugenda mu asatula dakika 10
Ndabona byabutaddeko mubyalo.
kikadde 3 minutes.
So tujja kugendera kwera. Mhm.
So, terrorist exploitation of cyberspace. We see that terrorist organizations, including the Boko Haram, the Al Shabaab, use social media to spread fear, share propaganda, and control narratives. It is in Africa. I don't know whether even terrorists or rebels in European countries do the same. But we see in Africa, it is in Africa where you see rebels, uh, if there is actually an accidental attack if there is an accidental attack in maybe of the camps of the rebels, or even when they make attacks on the country, rebels will post on their social media platforms that we are not the one that bombed that area. So
They have social media platforms.
yeah, Balina, the Boko Haram, Al Shabaab, they have M23, they have social media accounts. They have their social media accounts.
They have PRs.
They have social media accounts. So they have spokespersons, they have public relations, they have almost everything that is needed for a movement to move on. They have secretaries, they have representatives for in case of any outing, people who can represent a leader. Like they have the entire staff that it needs to be like to make up
An
something.
organization.
So the 2013 Westgate Mall attack in Nairobi, Kenya, demonstrated how terrorists revenge Twitter during the entire assault. When these people in 2013, when these of course
I think they were
rebels
Al
attacked Kenya,
Shabaab.
yeah, but these people were alive.
Hmm?
They were alive in this attack when they attacked this mall. They were alive. They were live on Facebook. Everything that was going on, people were watching it on their phones during that time. So Boko Haram also uses YouTube and Twitter to delegitimize the Nigerian government and military. So where do these sorry, where do these people that of course or own these of course big social media platforms fall, like YouTube, where do they fall? Because if at all rebels, if at all we can see terrorists having social media platform, different social media platforms to threaten, where do these people fall? They, of course, the leaders, the owners, the CEOs of these different social media platforms like YouTube, for example, where these people pass their information to the people, like the Boko Haram. Maybe of Boko Haram, they have YouTube channels, so that they can spread their propaganda.
And I think these channels are always supporting them because, like, why don't they prevent them?
So, financial losses and reputation damage, we see that cyber costs African businesses and governments significantly. South Africa, for instance, loses over 2.2 billion rands annually due to cybercrime. So, low investment in cybersecurity and amateur legislation make a country vulnerable. So, attacks not only result in financial losses but also damage the reputation of affected institutions. A lot of institutions have been exposed by these cyber criminals.
Mm,
So, Oria Agendanaba, like one time I heard that the Nile, like this beer company,
mm,
someone what way now, I know it was a stunt. It wasn't Nile, it was Guinness, but I know it was a stunt. But I think Nile also used the same thing. But I know it was maybe it was kind of PR they were doing,
mm,
because like those people they said like someone went into their system and stole all the documents that are related to how they make that beer. So it was in 2 days those people produced it like the beer, the Guinness people, they
mm,
produced beer which wasn't tasting good.
mm,
So like people took that beer, the entire country they took that beer. Then the next day, like no, like after a week after, those people they were like, we go to the person was imprisoned who stole the documents. Then they launched Guinness Stout,
mm,
Guinness Smooth. So because Stout was there, they were later Guinness Stout alinga beer which is not sour. But I
mm.
know it was a stand. So among the African countries that we see that are the most vulnerable to cyber threats, we see Namibia and Libya as the highest risk of cyber threats, holding 91st, 91, and 90th position globally, Namibia and Libya. So Ethiopia and Zimbabwe are closely followed, they presenting a considerable vulnerabilities in their cyber security measures. South Africa and Nigeria also are the highest risk due to the inadequate cyber laws in Nigeria. So a lot of African countries have fallen into this kind of threats of cyber security. But there are few African countries where, apart from actually Egypt, I see few African countries that have initiated technology from the grassroots that have been pioneers of technology. So whenever these threats come to African countries, uh, there is time, even actually up to now, Facebook is not allowed in Uganda.
Mm.
They never opened a Facebook, but people use Facebook every day. Even
Mhm.
government officials, they post their kind of stuff. They post the updates and of what they are doing on Facebook, but Facebook is not allowed
Okay, the one
in
else I
Uganda.
feel I'm sorry.
Huh?
Okay, the one else I feel I'm sorry.
Ekirizibwa?
It's not free. Why
Nedda.
just as long sort of that or
Omusolo tugusasula, but
coaching?
it's not free again. Anti bakukata ku data. Singa kyaliwo ekito, if it was free, you would buy OTT and use your Facebook free.
Because that ought to
If it was
take a
allowed.
coffee.
Listen, OTT, sente za OTT baazijjawo ne bazaawula ne bazigatta ku data. It is within the data. The reason why it is not open even up to now, that's why you use VPN. Singa ne ku WhatsApp okozesa VPN. But OTT is on data, on the entire data. If you, for example, ogula data wa 1,000, balaka OTT wa nusu bibiri tebivangawo. However, it is now combined within the data. It is within the data. Era oba oguze data wa lwasa manya ebibiri bya OTT but indirectly.
You know, there are a lot of things that are actually introduced, more especially when it comes to technology. Africa as a country, we embrace everything that has been introduced to us without revising or without getting to understand whether this thing is really important. And it's funny that most of the leaders we have, whenever they put a lot of concentration on something, there's definitely a reason why. Um, did you know that through the Wi-Fi, people can get to know what you do on your internet, your research, your searches, they got your engine searches, the Wi-Fi displays, sorry, to show probably INNOSSETU does this on Black Wi-Fi networks. INNOSSETU searches about this every day. He goes in and watches this and that. But cyber security as it all and the entire cyber system is good. It has allowed us to be here. It has allowed people to interact with each other. But I think there is little knowledge about this when it comes to Africans. And as much as a country, and that's why we see a country like South Africa being so, of course, serious when it comes to the cyber situation. I've realized that we have got a lot of South Africans actually who have lost their lives because of cyberbullying. You see, a lady comes on, posts stuff, people are trying to make fun of her, and at the end of the day, she commits suicide. And we have seen a lot of people who do not trust uh, technology anymore, like Innocent was saying, that even people will still use the advantage. We still have people who always know how to call you and then start telling you probably you need to register or stuff like this. Your phone is going to be put down and stuff like that. On each and every day, SIM card or the network companies are always there to remind us about this kind of scamming. which I'm not so sure whether there is that kind of scamming in the outside world, or in the European countries, or even the United States of America. But Africa does so. As I would say, as they are trying to introduce technology and how technology should be used in Africa, there should be measures that are keeping the users secure and safe. We have had of recent a lot of nudity um, throughout Africa, and probably young girls. I don't know how crazy it is getting, but apparently every week you receive a video of a nude or of a young lady. Basically, they target girls. Of course, I don't see men nudity. And then you get to ask them, should I send that to my boyfriend, or I had that in my phone. Anyway, everyone has excuses to whatever. I don't care what people think or what people do with their privacy, or maybe you want to dance naked in the mirror, or you want to record your nakedness and maybe watch it later. I don't know, but there should be privacy. Africa's, of course, Africa's technology, more especially when it comes to the digital ones, there is no what we call privacy whatsoever. And as we build this kind of course, technology things, we should also we should also revise the constitution. If someone does such a thing, they should be arrested. If someone tries to share somebody's nudity without their, of course, approval, they should be arrested and condemned. If someone does, because a lot of things, a lot of people, not everyone is so strong to see herself running all over social media and staying strong, right? But we are seeing a lot of the things that have actually not been so much into, sorry, so much into the action of Africa's government. All right. When we build issues like when we build cyber security softwares, of which they are being sold at a very, very extremely expensive price, you'll understand that there is a leverage that is given out to every individual who have access to technology. Probably you have access to phones, you're gonna have access to your email address and everything, but you're not gonna have that security guaranteed because probably you need maybe to buy it, the security and everything. So and when it comes to Africa, when we look at Africa actually, I think it is not thought about. People don't usually think about Africa and maybe what Africans should do or what they are facing when it comes to the cyber world. Recently, we have of course seen a lot of cyber or computer misuse all over the world. But basically, we are talking about Africa. We have seen the computer misuse down here in Africa, where apparently people don't know that you know there is what you're not supposed to be doing on your computer, more especially if it is up to sabotage somebody else, if it is false, if it is a criminal thing. Mm. And then a country like Uganda wakes up and decides that they're going to have, of course, a computer misuse act. Whoever tries to tarnish or misuse the computer to selfishly attack or to selfishly, of course, tarnish people's images, then they are definitely going to be arrested. And the propaganda, this cyber system has so very much been used by the government and those in opposition side. Let me say, a lot of politicians have so very much concentrated on this very system. Um, I will still have to remind you. Nowadays, people don't have time to sit and watch their television. Though we have something like Black Fire Network now, a lot of televisions in Africa have also started creating their own online thing. So you will find that a TV is having its own online platform. It has a page. It has a place where it is running all the things. And as the things they could not speak online, you realize that these people are dropping um, in the comment section. So, so these are the challenges. We have experienced a lot of propaganda, and unfortunately, I think a lot of people they take these things to be true. There are a lot of people who, of course, uh, take like within their 12-hour time in a day, they spend apparently 10 hours on their phones, on their computers, on the internet. And the only time they are not having that is maybe when they are going to bed. Now, this kind of people who have not had a real life, though some people think there is real life on the internet where everyone has to say their mind, and at times everyone becomes who they want to be, but they couldn't be. Some other people will be their dream self. Some other people want to be the extremely opposite of themselves. But the people viewing out there take it to be serious. They don't really get to understand that this one is probably doing something they are not. So we find that a lot of people are immersing their emotions and everything they have on the issues, the dialogue, the debates, the topics, the posts that people make all over the social media accounts, to the point that some people get really addicted to, of course, being with those other people. You realize someone have created a friendship that is everlasting. You don't know whether the person you are creating friendship with is a psychopath, or the person is a violent person. And this is why we have had a lot. There are many occasions, by the way. You realize that, of course, Kenya as a country, it is one of the top countries that are experiencing cyber securities. You realize that there are a lot of high crime, cyber crime rates in Kenya. I've seen a lot, I've watched a lot of videos where apparently young girls have been murdered by people they meet online. Someone comes and meets you, and then you go ahead, have a discussion, you go out to dinner, you meet and have something to eat, and the next time they want to go to the lodge, and that's where things go south. At least I've watched like four scenarios um, um, that happened in Kenya. So if and then when these kind of people commit such kind of crimes, they run, all right? They run away. Their accounts are put down. It becomes hard for the government to find these kind of people. Why? Because we have not had that strong security. Like I said, everything in Africa is so not good. You find Africa is a dumping site for not only these other materialistic things or tangible things, but also the same thing when it comes to security, cyber security. Why is it so hard for someone to be traced through? Because first of all, these people have been having a very long conversation for some good time until they reach a point of meeting, and definitely, of course, maybe one of them is in love or not, or stuff like that, where people end having issues. Now, straight to Wahoo, a 26-year-old Instagram influencer. all right, was found dead in an bar room in Nairobi. Okay, she had been stabbed by a man she met online. The same thing with the Rita Waini, who is also a 20-year-old student who was killed and dismembered in a short-term rental in Nairobi. Eyewitnesses reported that she had also met a man online before her murder. The same story went to a certain lady who was called Christine Aume, who was beheaded in Homa Bay. That was in Western Kenya while cooking in her detached kitchen. Another story: a woman was found murdered and dumped by a road, by the roadside in Kiambu County, in Kenya at the time. In all these people who were murdered by people they met online. All right. Now in Nigeria, there is 8 Nigerian men were accused of an internet dating scam that targeted women. Of course, the investigation involved international cooperation between the FBI and the Interpol. The 8 men are just the 8 men, but we know Nigeria has been going on with this online or the internet dating scam for some good time, and the population is increasing every single day. And now we know that we had also a 14-year-old boy who loved gaming and was groomed online and murdered in 2014. That was Brett Badner. If you all remember that 14-year-old boy. Through gaming, he was groomed and again he was murdered. So there is a lot that is going on that actually people need to know. As we are using this kind of things, we need to be protected from such kind of predators. People, the users need to be protected from this kind of things, so that at least people should be safe and get to know. There is too much that is still needed when it comes to the cyber security. There is a lot, I don't know. Recently, there is a TikTok video that I actually saw. I'm already selected. Police twist. There is a TikTok video that I watched where um, people were using that video to arrest uh, men who want to prey on young girls. There is a kids TikTok now. So these people went ahead and opened this TikTok account, and they put a picture. They launched the account within 30 minutes. They had gained a lot of followers, and most of these followers were actually men, grown up men, and some other men who were like 30 plus, they were all swarming on this little girl. But the actual image of the person behind this TikTok account was a grown up person, but they wanted to get to know, they were doing a study. Okay, so they realized that very many young girls are being, of course, abused through these things. They are being lowered to, places where it is made easy for whoever wants to prey on them to commit whatever crime that they want to uh, commit. 61 minutes. Yeah.
So we see that Africa is a region that actually is experiencing economic development over the past 20 years. The combined GDP of the region of Africa has increased more than fivefold from, of course, 695 billion US dollars in 2002 to, of course, 2.98 trillion 2022. So, as time, the development of the digital sphere is the region that has outspaced the development of laws and regulations. We see that the cumulative growth of African economies reflects the region's huge potential and contributing to increase in the demand for internet and digital services. So, at the same time, the development of digital space in the region has outspaced the development of laws and regulations regarding cybersecurity. So, the increasing frequency of the complexity of cyber attacks in the African region threatens the security of the critical information infrastructure and demands urgent action to strengthen protection measures. Failure to counter cyber threats can have severe consequences for individuals, businesses, social and economic development of the continent, and of course, uh, the country, African countries. Um, we see that digital environment in African regions is rapidly evolving, but the lack of proper measures of ensuring cybersecurity and the insufficient legislative framework in the field of uh, information security and low level of awareness about cybersecurity issues among the general population and leading to an increase in the number of cyber threats. For me, there is a way African people were created manually. All the technologies that we have in African countries, these are technologies that people just buy. You go to the shop, they tell you like you're buying a phone, which kind of phone, like are you buying, like someone doesn't ask. Actually, they don't even have aims of why they're buying phones. Someone just wakes up one day, I want a smartphone. Someone wakes up one day, I want a smartphone, and that is how people do behave in Africa. We see that Africa's low level of preparedness to encounter cyber threats costs concerned countries with average 10% of their GDP. Okunyiga awo si kwe kubiteekako mukwano. Omunaani gafaayo, biteekako.
Sorry. Oh, turabyona. Omusala oguddako gwonna ogwange ogenda ku school fees y'omuntu atukawuleko. Saagala. Right. I don't know. So this the cyber security itself is not more visible like it should have been. Um, there is little, you know, limit and also to falsehoodness. Apparently, people have extremely. I don't know whether it's the conscious or people don't just get to know what the law is all about when it comes to cyber. I hardly see these kind of things in countries like US, unless someone has a cycle. I don't know, maybe we are groomed different, but I've seen a lot of cases in Africa where someone can just wake up from the blue actually and say a fake story about you, and they are very not ashamed and they try to make everyone believe. Um, and those people will go, they will go scot free. But I think in other countries or outside Africa, there is a constitution and there is a law that prohibits that. So I personally am expecting to see that kind of law being used here. I'm expecting to see Africans, of course, respecting that the communication. There is a lot of falsefulness. A lot of people are doing things without, of course, thinking about the repercussions and what they are doing will cause. But it has become more of a business. It has become more of a business for people to actually exaggerate with everything. And we have got a lot of online professionals, fake professionals. Me, at times I look at people and I think maybe they are psychopaths, maybe they have mental problem. You know, people have different mental problem, but you cannot be sitting behind your camera and start talking wrong things every today, tomorrow, and forever. Apparently, and you're making the entire world believe in what you're saying, and you confidently stand to, of course, pretend like you are educating, informing, or stuff like that about something you are not even very aware of. I don't know whether it is because of the desperation for money. I have noticed this. I've not followed a lot of people, but I've followed some other. I've actually not followed them, but I usually get their feed. Most Ugandans, like on TikTok, most people do their TikTok videos and share them on Facebook and Instagram. So we have had apparently a lot of people out there. They have a huge following people who are so really ignorant about very many things. I'm going to give an example. So, and the funniest thing before I give that example, we are when you look at the media houses where apparently someone should be so sure, where someone should be very, very extremely sure and trust the information. That's a media house. Um, Even these people are selecting people to work for them according to the followers someone has on the social media platform. When you have a huge following on TikTok, you stand a chance, even if you're not a professional journalist, you stand a chance of getting a job in Uganda and elsewhere. Um, so we have had a lot of people who, let me say, content creators. Maybe content creation, maybe there is fiction content creation because I know it is there. When we look at content creation, there is a frictional. That part of friction when someone just says what they desire, something that is so frictional but you definitely know is going to be enjoyed by your audience. And unfortunately, the audience is not told about this kind of creation, that the creation we compose here is fictional. So that people, like we watch fictional movies, right? Somebody's knowing, yeah, I'm watching a fiction movie, I'm watching a sci-fi movie, I'm watching an animation. You go to watch something when you know exactly this is fictional, but I enjoy it. And this is something that people don't let the world know. So if you are fictional, of course, a fictional content creator, you ought to put it in your description so that people will see and not immerse themselves into something that is not really right. People take things slightly, but you don't take someone's mind as a joke, and usually people ignore others. um I used to write, I was a fictional writer. I've ever experienced this, by the way. But along the run, I feel like a lot of people are immersing themselves in my stories. Though these stories were a little bit erotic and a little bit crazy, but these were just things and the characters that I would just mention in the stories. I'll just get definitely a character, maybe even most of the stories I had never even experienced before, I had never heard of, I had never seen, but I know they would be fictional. So I created a page. And actually, I gave that page to there's a Nigerian friend of mine who liked that. I felt like people were taking me so serious, and the things that I was writing were fictional. And it was on the description of the page that I was writing fictional stories. But I realized that most of the people used to read my stories on my in my group and the other platforms at that time were taking this so serious. Until now, I really have friends who liked me for that. I had a huge following of a lot of people actually from the UK, if they were youths, and you'd see that someone's coming to the inbox of that page and they're trying to tell you stuff, and you're like, okay, so don't they know that this is a fiction thing? So I did write that in description, yeah. I just had to let go because I could not actually carry that burden. I usually felt guilty of these people's emotions, how they were emotionally involving themselves in the stories that I've just created from the blue. So there's some story, guys. If we had, there are some people actually. I've read for you this young boy who was trained, who loved gaming. He was 14 years old, and he was trained online. And there is killings, there is what, and all that murder and stuff like that on the game. People get so addicted on the gaming that someone will not even be afraid to murder the other because this is something that they feed in their mind each and every day. These kids who grow up watching gaming, murder games, all right, they feed that. So he feels like he wants to do that physically. And people, even there are some grown-ups who have actually become psychopaths because of this kind of things that they have involved. Now we have limited security over this. We have some little software that, at least even if it is much, a lot of people have not been sensitized about this kind of softwares. A software that blocks your children from accessing certain kind of contents on social media, in other internet platforms. Um, Internet is a place where everyone does whatever they want. You Google whatever you want, whether it is vulgar, kind of things. A lot of them are not very much aware of what they can do. Um, so a lot of people are not aware of such kind of, and of course,
tekikiri mu ovale tekibadde mu background kino wali muladdeko
tukyayagala kukozesa kiri kye twakozesa kiri ekyalimu ebisaki ojjako era enkya osange buli yonna ebyo byokozesa nga babituusizza. Kiragala omuntu eyabikola gwali mukirikiikirira kiteekawo ekifumusajja kikwatako. So you will realize that a lot of people have less information or no information about such kind of things, more especially when it comes to Africa. So if at all someone is capable of being trained, all right, and again murdered, okay, as much as I know there is freedom and right for someone doing some other things, but if at all something turns to be a life-threatening thing, I think it would be better that people let go such kind of things. If at all we wake up one time and you realize maybe me staying on Black Hot Fire Network is doing more harm than good, then it is something that should be avoided. And but of course, we have realized that there are a lot of platforms that even the creators know that these platforms are doing more harm than good, but still will of course allow these platforms to be used by other people, and of course with no supervision at that. I know this probably has got a lot to do with the money. It has got a lot to do with the money. It has got a lot to do with uh, the investment that the creators put in. And of course, like we always know, there is a lot that comes within. Welcome.
Hey, okay.
So we need to have such kind. If at all we are to look at the security, it should be a security that is there to safeguard, protect the people, their property, their lives, and their mental health, of which we are not seeing. Because usually by the time that the cyber, of course, by the time the cyber laws come into place, or of course take action, at times we have lost a lot. So what is the essence of having the cybersecurity department when we still have the bullying going ahead, when we still have murders that are being, of course, uh, done by the cyber personnel, sorry, but done by these people who, of course, work, the cyber criminals. I know usually this, at times it is not the first time these people are committing such kind of crimes. But why is it that there is no follow up? Okay, because if someone meets someone after talking to someone for a very long time, and then they meet, and then somebody dies, and then they meet the second person and stuff like that, that should be an alert. Because as we people, we are not aware of what happens inbox, but the security does. But the only focus most of these things are putting on is the negative focus. What are Africans talking about? What are their plans? Are they agreeing to our terms and conditions? What are these people discussing about? Things that, like we always say that Facebook is FBI. It's like FBI, Facebook, Instagram, you know, and all those other things that are actually doing a lot to investigate rather on black people than following the real criminals. So this the cyber security, of course, landscape in Africa should also be examined by Africa as a continent, and we should also make our own decisions to how we want our security to be run, because we should have some international laws that govern this entire cyber security system that unites Africa as a country under one umbrella. We have had a lot of people move from South Africa to just come to Uganda to, of course, start scamming and also stealing hard cash from mobile banks. Um, sorry, and these mini outlet banks. So there is I don't know whatever, because they usually say the ATM machines that are abroad are usually manufactured from South Africa. I think these are technicians who know um, the technical know-how of these particular machines that decide to come later on and probably tamper with machines to carry out thefty. Now, you cannot, of course, as you're traveling, let me assume, Maria, I'm traveling to, of course, Kenya by plane. I'm, a, I'm a non person, I'm an engineer who, of course, manufactures ATM machines, or who, of course, structures ATM machines. I board a plane and I'm heading to Uganda, only to realize that the clients who bought that, because of course there are clients who buy those ATM machines, sending a feedback that somebody tampered with the ATM machine. Doesn't your system show that Maria traveled from South Africa to go to Ghana at a certain specific date? Probably. So why can't, those are things that if someone is to follow, those are the things that the cyber should be helping us with. So they get to know, all right, someone traveled at this given particular time. So maybe perhaps this is the person who did this. The investigation should start from there. But I realize that if it has got nothing that concerns the big people in the big field, then nobody really cares with what happens and who has done what to who and why. Um, I think it's high time we started drafting our own. And through these very securities, we have also realized that there is a lot of invasion. There is invading the privacy of Africans a lot. Like I said, we always follow things in a naive kind of way.
Lugha akayinza okuseka kujja kutya okukola. Ogwayigiriza shaka ebyo ebintu.
Believe
Nja kusala omusaala. Twabiyigiriza shaka ebyo. Kutidde. Wakatambula essaawa eno yebala. If you edit now it will be 1 hour.
wali kwerinaba 88.
Anti eno gyebiri but wali oli yakitaddeyo n'akiteeka like n'akiteeka emabega ku ddakiika ziri otandika tukitegeeza. Ozo obuyita busiru. Wano tuba mu ssaawa emu n'ekitundu.
Yamanyi fe tukigagoberera yamanyi nkuwuliriza ebyo bimazeemu
ate kyekikumazeemu
ebyesaawa nzigana ebyapolokoso
bwolokosa. So we know that financial organizations are the primary target of cyber criminals, with almost 1 in 5. So successful attacks on organizations directly at this sector, as a rule, the attackers are successful pursuing financial gain. We see telecommunication companies in Africa are also facing a considerable number of attacks due to their growing customer base, which makes them attractive targets to data theft and extortion. So the use of ransomware remains one of the most serious threats in Africa. So one of the main vectors of delivery in a compromise of computers, servers, and network equipments, we see that this indicates the low security of the companies, namely vulnerabilities in the network perimeter and for configuration flaws is externally available services. So, attacks using social engineering, including business emails, compromise. We see that we use e-commerce nowadays. So pose the primary cyber threat to organizations and individuals. So more than half of the groups conducting these attacks operates in Africa, and they're familiar with the region characteristics. Yes. Jaonye. On underground forums, cyber criminals actively buy. Yeah. So, on the underground forums, cyber criminals actively buy and sell access to the network of major African organizations such as government and financial institutions, trade enterprises, and IT companies. So, the average cost of access with domain administrator privileges is around 300 USD dollars. So, while access with the local administrator privileges goes for around $170. So also on the other criminal markets, attackers share an offer to sell databases containing information about employees and customers of various companies. African organizations regularly face DDoS attacks with government and financial institutions being particularly affected. So these attacks are typically carried out by activists. So African organizations, we see that both hackers and organized criminal groups operate in Africa, pursuing financial motives or engaging in cyber attacking or cyber hacking. So financial difficulties are pursuing the younger generation to look for ways to earn money quickly and increasingly uh, low entry for engaging in cyber crime, thus making the tempting prospect of cyber attacking or cyber insecurity. The lack of effective international cooperation and information exchange between Africa and European countries is hindering the fight against cyber crime. So, in the recent years, we see that Africa has been a rapid proliferation of digital technologies, especially in the areas of financial technology and e-commerce. The COVID-19 pandemic also played in this, creating the need to provide the possibility of remote working for many employees. So in 2021, 43% of the African population had internet access. What's more, there is a huge potential in African countries regarding technology, especially due to its young population that is comprising of almost 60% at the continent in 2020 was under 25 years. We see that 60% of the population by 2020 was under 25 years. These are youths, these are young people. So this factor encourages the use of new technologies. So we see that the number of unique mobile subscribers in sub-Saharan Africa will reach 615 million people by 2025. Furthermore, estimates for the entire region indicate that the number of internet users will exceed 1 billion people by 2023, which was last year. So the digital transformation strategy to Africa aims to ensure that by 2030, every inhabitant of the region will have a stable access to internet. So key sectors of the economy, including finance, education, and agriculture, government, security, and manufacturing, are actively adopting digital technologies and transitioning their operations to online platforms in accordance with the digital transformation strategy. So, cybersecurity and personal data protection are fundamental principles in implementation of the digital transformation project. So a lot of African countries, they have developed strategies on how they can help their people to of course access internet. Let them be villages. I remember in 2019 in Uganda, they had started like increasing internet access in village areas. They had started constructing more mosques in villages so that people can access internet. But what are the consequences of all these things that are flowing too much in African land? So we see that the widespread of use of technology combined with insufficient cyber security measures, inadequate legislation in the field of information and information security, and the low level of public awareness concerning information security creates favorable conditions for cyber criminals. Moreover, many African countries they are of course facing economic constraints, making it difficult to allocate sufficient funds for cyber security. But this is not the reason that makes people not to be aware of such things. So, do you know that there are very many people that have been scammed, that have been blackmailed, or someone can be having an iPhone now, and and like he throws that iPhone or puts that iPhone or leaves it in a car in a taxi. You come and pick that iPhone. They start tracing for you wherever you are, tracking you.
Intentionally.
So, like people, they are not aware about the technologies. They hear about smartphone, phones, iPhone stuff. So when they get you, they make you pay a lot of money. Someone may say, "I lost my phone with cash. I lost my phone with a laptop." So why is it that like people they are not aware? People in Africa they are not aware about these technologies and how they are used. Reason being, in Africa we don't have specified measures for cyber security and the related technologies in Africa. Ndabona zitwala mpaka ssaawa bbiri. Ngenda kukatwala mpaka ssaawa oba mpaka dakiika ana. So kabeere kampi naye nkyali eno waggulu. So in recent years, there has been a significant increase in cybercrime in Africa. According to, like, we see that the total number of successful cyber attacks, there are a lot of cyber attacks people do. However, we see the total number of successful one has more than doubled over the past 5 years. So the rise of cyber incidents is also evident among African communities, African countries. So in the second quarter of 2023, we see that Africa experienced the highest average number of cyber attacks per week per organization. So everyone in the world is targeting Africa for anything. They are targeting Africa for anything. Let it be security. Let it be what they are targeting Africa. So with a 23% of increase compared to the same period in 2022, cyber attacks can lead to events that are intolerable for business and governments, such as halting of business operations, large-scale theft of funds, which they have done. A lot of people. These people say that Africa is for poor, but there is there is someone who there is a Muzungu lady I used to chat with on WhatsApp. What did I show you that Muzungu lady? Yeah. By the end of the day, I said I chatted with this Muzungu lady for like 3 weeks. The first time I said hi. When I said hi, the woman sent her photos in a car. Do you know these cars? Like cars they normally hire maybe for bridal issues, for bridal ceremonies. Those cars, yes, those expensive cars. Then she took a photo when the car is even and there is a way people look at Africans. They look at Africans as we are stupid.
The rim was
Yeah, you know the woman was sitting in that car.
and the rim was
Yeah, but the car was in the parking where those cars are normally kept. when they're not in use. So I looked at this village Muzungu. I looked at this village Muzungu, this village European. Then the second thing, she sent me photos when she's in a farm. There is a cow, it had big horn. She was in a farm feeding that cow. But why I got to know after 1 week, she was someone who was good at doing adventure, moving to different places, take photos. How did I realize? Then she sent photos when she's or like along the railway. Like she sent photos when she's in the forest. She sent photos when she's in the mountains.
So that you know she's half African somehow.
Eh,
Oh my
so at the first time of talking to the same woman, she sent me her driving permit, her driving license. It was for was it California?
California, yeah. I
It was
remember.
California, but the badge indicated New York. That's why I got her. Then I said, this is how like you do things. Like I kept myself like to be stupid to her towards her. Then I used another number to chat with her. So, on the same number, she sent the same messages.
You are coming automatic.
She said the same. She said
Maybe it was a Nigerian.
I don't know. But no, but she was a Mzungu woman because she sent me an audio. I was like, send me audio. I want to hear your fucking voice. She sent me an audio. Then on the same number, when I googled how the driving license of California looks like on this new number, like I abused her seriously.
You were saying I've
I,
got
I, I told I told
some
her
Zungu.
I told her this thing is fake. Are you okay? The permit, like the driving license for California, looks like this. The woman blocked me. The woman blocked me there. But little did she knew that I was the same person.
On the other
But the other number we could talk things on. Things so in fact, she had even told him that she's coming to Uganda. Was it last year in November? I told her
Uganda. Like I used to tell her for Nachi.
I also had
I used to tell Nachi about that. One time I told her Nachi. How's the mother since you had to bring me?
Also, I'm good.
I told Nachi. So Nachi, sometimes she came to me, Maria, I've got this amazing guy, and then we've been dating for some time, and I'm like, really? Yeah. Now they knew that like I talked to a lot of people, and how I got to have a lot of friends who are not Ugandans. It's because of the content I used to create. And a lot of people don't really know that I'm a Ugandan until now, by the way. So she came to me, talked to me about it, and I'm going to, of course, he said he's going to send me some jewelry, a phone, and he wanted to always do some video chats with me, video calls, but I do not have a stable phone. So he's going to send me a phone and stuff. So I was like, him sending you a phone, maybe you should just give you money to buy a phone. He said, no, he said he doesn't trust. And I can tell you, I guarantee that phone that is going to come from that side is definitely good. I was like, okay. But I told her, the moment that person asks you for any money so that you can receive your things, don't agree. Okay. So when I told her, I think she felt like maybe I have bad energy towards what she's going to get. Maybe Maria is not her. So she went behind my back and talked to someone else. She was also her friend. Yeah, and that's what she told her. So the guy said they should send, is it 75 US dollars um, to a certain account, that there is someone who was bringing the things. So yeah, the things have stopped on the way. She said she borrowed this money. Then the guy said another, now it has come to Uganda. You have to send this money on this guy's mobile money account. And the mobile money account wasn't on an account. The idiot sent. Reaching with a reference number. They even sent the tracking number. So I think the guy was using someone else's tracking number. So on reaching, I don't know, maybe they edited or whatever. Reaching at the airport, they said we have not received any cargo today. That is coming from this side under those names. Calling the dude, his phone was, she had even blocked her.
It is the same thing. I have a friend in Saudi. I have a friend in Saudi. He's a friend to the other woman, the other Muslim woman, the other woman whom I used to chat with.
The one on TikTok.
Yeah, she has his auntie. The auntie is also in Saudi. And then that auntie had dated a German guy. Then they were talking, the guy was promising, I'm going to take you to German, like the guy was called Derek. So they used to chat with Derek, like the entire night. The Kadama is always happy, like they talk. But that singer, that auntie of that woman, she did not knew like English, writing English stuff. She would send messages to the other woman. Then the other woman also
Sends to you.
sends back to her. Forwards back to her. Yeah. That's how they used to do things. So she sends the reply and the audio to direct on how to reply what and what. Then this Derek told the woman, for me, I've ever been in Uganda, told him about the places I've ever been. Like real Muslim guy, German guy. So they talked, like they used to talk. Then they reached time. Now they started trusting each other. Like they were borrowing them, so someone would borrow from someone like that. Now this guy was so like was smart. Like he made this one believe in him. Like he used to borrow some little money. You know little money extremely like him to add it down. Then he pays back in the time like he promised to. Like that they used to do. Man. One time the guy told the woman like, I want you to come to what? To German. You need to process things, or I can even buy for your ticket, but you know things are not moving one well these days. But give me like 2 months. They did it for some time. But the guy was smart. Then then the guy told the woman told the guy, you know, I've been getting some little money. I want to spend here 2 years. Then after these 2 years, within these 2 years, I want to build a house for my mom. But it is like or like it is on the wall plate. I want to complete my mom's house. Then the guy told the woman, I'm going to send you money so that you can complete like
your mom's house.
Then the guy told the woman, and we are at times stupid. He told the woman like, how much do you have? How much do you have? The woman was like, you know, I have my savings of about 30 Ugandan shilling in a certain circle. My 30 the woman. Then the guy was like, hey, 30 when are you getting that money? We don't want to get that money in of course December. That's when we get money. They were telling the man. The guy sacrificed 6M, sent to a woman to complete the house.
6 million.
6 million. Sacrificed 6 million, sent to the woman. Sent the woman, was like, use that money. It's okay, use that money to complete. I want you like to process all those things for you so that you can come to German and join me. Time went on. Then the dude told the woman, like, I got some little problems. I got some little problems. So I need like 18M. I need like 18M. I'm going to give it to you within 2 weeks. Tuwadzingavana atera kugavana. Tuwadzingavana atera kugavana. Then what the woman did? The woman said, "It's okay, Derek. Let me process these things." Namgamba, I need some little money to send someone in Uganda so that she can pick that money, then sends you that money. If someone in Uganda, money was sent direct from here, German. Then Derek guy told him, I don't have money like I told you, but I'm going to get money within a week. I'm going to get money within a shortest time. They sent 18 million to the guy. After sending 18 million, the guy blocked the woman immediately after getting the money. After yali agala kwesuula kuva ku gundi waggulu. Kati this woman narrated the story to me, the entire story. 18M from Uganda to Germany. That is how people are very smart.
And this is what most Nigerians are doing. They make the women fall in love. And the moment, first of all, they don't date a woman. They will date a woman because they have reasons. And this is how women are giving in money willingly.
18 million. The woman cried.
I don't know what is it with Africans
after the woman was like, the other woman told me that, my aunt told me after Saudi she wants to come in Uganda for 2 months, she go to Dubai. She's a grown-up woman to do stuff.
Now at that old age, you still want to date Mr. Derek. You are very old, you still want to travel to Germany.
They used to call video calls. The guy went with 18M. He invested around like 6M.7 or even 7.
No, that is a good investment.
Yeah, he made it from money from Uganda.
That's why people don't trust people.
It was a
because
a man.
That lady, she was with internet fraud and all the things. Most of these things, they don't just get money without knowing, because you cannot just wake up one time. There is usually someone who leaves a loose end. There is usually someone who leaves a loose end. If it's a bank manager, whoever the person is, there is someone who leaves a loose end that enables these people to do. So, and when it comes to theft, such kind of people are so, I don't know, they don't care about everything. A lot of people would think, the moment you are having a child with someone can't scam. Scammers don't really care. That's like the story of that young lady. For her, she was the dad was a rich guy, and she was born alone when the mom died in labor. So sorry, the mom died giving birth to her in the labor ward. Let me say. So the dad raised her daughter, but like like men. The father, I think, did not trust the daughter that she would be able to handle her things very well. But do you, and now this was a friend who was at school, like they were studying from secondary school, and you tell your friend a story. Shege, guy na we haunga money. So they leave, they join the university. The guy goes and ayasinga kamku. Then he remembers, oh, I remember Maria telling me the other true story. And then he came back looking for that bed. Oh, after the dad died. Now this lady having known that guy throughout high school and coming back. Oh, they even got married very well. She even possessed that guy's name. That is why some ladies don't you if you marry me, I'm me, you are you, bas. Some people do this because of such kind of acts by them. So along the run, the lady produces the first child, the second. Now she's very sure of this guy because she thought she had the children of that guy, and in the end, funny enough, the guy was waiting for the other man. Now the lady starts, of course, the guy was educated, the lady was educated, but for her, she was doing medicine, she was a medical person, and the guy was a businessman. Putting all the names of his father's property under this guy because they have two kids. After doing that, Wamuraba, I know. Mpozi nga toli Muganda bulungi. So that I tell you, so there is nothing, or someone who is a scammer. It is just ndozebera luck. Because there's nothing you can do about it. And I cannot wake up and say someone is so
by
stupid.
the way,
Just like I'm
living
a
alone,
living
actually living alone all those stories today. The Buddha guy who brought me, the guy told me, hey man, ever since like I woke up very early in the morning. By 10 I had 50K in my wallet. By 10 I had 50K in my wallet. But someone like he took a passenger and took it from his
that pocket.
the behind pocket. Then when that guy told me a shocking story. That guy told me that one time that guy told me that that guy told that guy told me that he once got a chance, like her motorcycle had issues. Then when the motorcycle had issues, the guy like he boarded a taxi, like the taxi was empty. He went to the park to board the taxi was empty. He found there like so workers those handbags for women. He found like opening the handbag and the car was empty. It had 2M. What do I know? It had 2M. The bag had 2M. Ezo sente wezitunazibeera ntege bazirekamu intended. The guy found 2M. The guy told me they just moved out of the taxi. He just moved out of the taxi, boarded the border, told the border man, take me to my home. He was taken to his home. Now, then he paid some school fees for his kids. That's what he told him. Paid school fees for his kids. He bought new tires for the motorcycle, and everything was okay. So I did not feel like I did not tell this guy, but I wanted to tell this guy that you're paying that money in installments.
Kama is a bitch.
Gomanyi, do you know what it means by getting 2M in Uganda free? no condition, no working, no what, 2M like this. You have not sold the land.
Is there a land of 2M nowadays?
Hey, you can get it in villages. Deep villages. So that's how the guy got 2M. So like I said that the financial losses from cyber attacks are substantial, and we know that in 2022 Africa's low level of preparedness for cyber threats costs countries average of 10% of their GDP. So one of the most serious problems facing Africa is lack of information security infrastructure. We are looking at the roads, we are looking at what, but we are like African countries have not embraced information security infrastructure. That's why our mindset remains behind, because we lack information security infrastructure. So about 90% of the African business operate without cyber security protocols, making them vulnerable to cyber threats. We see that the need to change the approach of cyber security in Africa as it undergoes digital information and transformation. So many African countries have not yet developed legislation covering all aspects of information security, making it difficult to effectively deal with cyber threats according to complicating the implementation of the implementation of cyber uh, technology and enforcement of cyber security measures. So only 39 out of 54 African countries have, of course, implemented cybersecurity legislation measures on how to handle issues concerned with cybersecurity and how it runs. Among the 54 countries, we see 39 countries in Africa. So the adoption of cyber security policies and regulations across the entire continent is 72%, the lowest level of the world. So only 14 countries have ratified this. So we see that approximately 70%, 75% of the respondents from African organizations reported having cybersecurity strategies that were there updated regularly or developed according to the organization threat profile with measure of KPIs. At the same time, 78% of the IT department heads believe that their organization is not ready to fend off cyber attacks despite of the increasing investments in security. Another problem is the acute shortage of cyber security specialists. As of 2020, there was an estimated shortage of at least 100,000 certified professionals that can deal in cyber security. Do you know that even those countries where legislation or regulations for this in African countries, the people that like run uh, run cyber technology for these African countries, they are not Africans. They are not Africans. They are not operating from Africans. For me, I look at very many artwork like people do. I look at artwork people do. I normally follow up artwork. You find like almost the things we normally see in Africa. They are not managed in Africa. Even when the organization is for an African, is for Ugandan, but the entire system that actually is vulnerable, that is concerning information, it's not run from Africa. I was told that for you to, I don't know whether this is true, for you to withdraw uh, for you to withdraw your TikTok money, you have to be having someone in USA, your friend, to withdraw your money. You can't withdraw. You may be
Sure.
yeah, you may see money accumulating on your account, but you can't withdraw. You can't transfer. You can't transfer from TikTok to your account unless you have someone in USA to transfer
because
for
angakoresesa PayPal.
you get like you send that like you send the email and the password to that person to go into your account to do stuff. So if that person is a scammer or he take your account, these guys. So we see that with the increasing availability of internet in Africa, an increase in activities of international organized cyber networks in the region to be expected. But moreover, given the highest unemployment rate, the young population may join already the existing cyber criminal groups to make quick buck. Lack of awareness about cybersecurity among the general population in African countries. People are not aware. Like for me, there is a way. Yes, I don't say that I can't be scammed. I can't be scammed, but there is a way they scam people in a fake way. Like someone has called, like someone is calling you. Someone may call you, Maria. Hello, where are you? Can like you put these digits into your phone. After putting the digits, all the money you have goes. There is a way they fake people.
Yeah.
So we see that inadequate measures to encounter the attacks in organizations and poor cooperation between the law enforcement agencies in different countries make Africa more digitally developed countries as an attractive target for attackers, for all cyber attackers in African countries. So the main targets of attackers, we see that in the period from the beginning of 2022 to the first half of 2023 last year, among the various sectors of the economy, the most targeted organizations were those in the financial sector. Just like I said, first people are focusing on money, getting cash, getting like money. So followed by telecommunication companies like Vodacom, MTN, Airtel. So, government agencies and, of course, organizations from the trade and industrial sectors. Uh, so, cyber attacks targeted major companies such as the Futawave in the TransUnion and the headquarters of the Porsche in South Africa, as well as the electric company of Ghana. So cyber criminals also attacked important government structures such as the Bank of Zambia. You heard about that incident about the Bank of Zambia. Hey, let me say. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? So, the Bank of Zambia, several ministries in Uganda, several ministries in Uganda, like several government ministries in Uganda, they were affected by this cyber attack. We had the incident about before I even go further. We had the incident of the Bank of Zambia, how it was attacked by cyber criminals in Zambia, how it was attacked, how the government of Zambia was attacked by the cyber criminals. A lot of money was taken from that bank. A lot of money was taken from the Zambian bank just because of like we don't have regulations in Africa. When we see that in the rapid evolving landscape, cybersecurity has become the critical concern in the business operating financial sector in Zambia. So to a secure and a resilient Thank you. So the Bank of Zambia has recently actually woke up. It was sleeping. Has recently introduced the new guidelines in the government gazette number of 7,140 in 2000 because because of what happened, we see that before there were no guidelines that were guided in this. That's why the government of Zambia was attacked by these criminals in the recent year. So, like I said, different government ministries in Africa were attacked. A lot of documents, a lot of information was stolen from ministries in Uganda. So, government institutions in Ethiopia and of course in Senegal. These are some of the countries where cyber criminals were done. Where it's not like these are the known ones. These are the published ones. These are the countries that the media exposed in the recent year. So the targeted attacks accounted for 68% of the successful cyber attacks in these cases. So the perpetrators were focused on specific organization or industry. So one may ask, like, what are the consequences of the attacks? How did they affect the entire region of Africa? I'm sorry, Gibiaba, this is not uh, this is not cricket, Gibiaba. It's not cricket, no, grasshopper. It's me. I'm sorry for that. But this is how cyber attacks affected the entire region of Africa. We see that most often attacks were aimed at obtaining credential information. 38 of the companies experienced this. So criminal actions also frequently caused disruptions in organizational operations. For example, in every third successful attack, the main activities of the companies were disrupted. 7% of the incidents resulted from direct financial losses. So, hmm, so whenever these people try to access information from in an illegal way, or in a cyber insecurity way, or in a hackisty way, of course they have to put in credentials which don't match with the company's credentials. So this makes the entire systems of these organizations or these organizations or industries to be disrupted. They can even fail for good. So we see that the consequences of cyber of successful cyber attacks can vary significantly. So their impact can range from affecting the single individual to disrupting and the functioning of the entire industries and the regions. So the events that could have, of course, catastrophic effects for organization differ case by case. For example, for banks like in Zambia, it could be large-scale theft or scams targeting users. We had a bank in Uganda where, like, um, people could go there to, of course, withdraw their money, but they could see money while online. They could see money that they couldn't withdraw their money. So, while for industrial enterprises, it could be disruptions to technological process with serious consequences for citizens. We see a non-tolerable event is an event that occurs as a result of cyber attack and prevents achieving the operation and strategic goals of the organization, or leads to a prolonged disruption of its main activities. Everything is distorted whenever such attacks are done. So, the financial sector, we see that the financial sector in Africa attracts the most criminals, with 18% of all attacks targeting organizations within it. So, this is the firstly because criminals are primarily interested in financial gain, nothing else. So, which coupled with the relatively low level of security of these companies, like cyber security for companies in Africa, so makes them attractive targets. So, moreover, financial organizations store a large amount of customer data, including payment information, allowing attackers to use stolen information for further attacks on users. So, one of the major campaigns aimed at financial institutions, we see that between we see that we see that 35 successful attacks and that aimed at stealing 11 million dollars from banks and, telecommunications providers in several countries, with African banks being the most frequent victims. The total damage from the attacks is estimated at $30 million. So USD dollars. So typically, the criminals aimed to compromise operator accounts with access to significant sums of money. The criminals then use the stolen credentials to transfer funds. So another case came to the light. This we see that that another case came to light, that members of the fraudulent syndicate were apprehended after after hacking more than 1,000 bank accounts of customers in Nigeria. The suspects confessed that using specialized software to hack into customers' accounts and make discrete money transfers from any bank. This attack underscores how important it is for banks and financial institutions to ensure the security of the infrastructure and eliminate companies that are vulnerable in the business process and software use. So this is in order to protect both the organization and itself and its users, because whenever companies, like, they don't have measures, because our governments are false, they are false, like they don't care for people. Because if at all we had legislations, if at all we had regulations, if at all we had laws that are governing cyber attacks in African countries, if at all African countries had embraced this, we could be having where to start from. If at all if at all Africa has tried as much as possible to make people aware about these softwares, about how these people scam money, steal money, do criminals through cyber attacks. If at all people knew about this, they could be aware of this before anything. Yes, I don't say that they couldn't be scammed, but the cases couldn't be the same as they are right about now. So the financial sector leaders, like, we acknowledge the seriousness of cyber threats. We see that cybersecurity ranks as the number one risk factor in the financial services sector for the second year in the row. About 97% of the heads of the large financial institutions in Africa consider cybercrime significant threat along the macroeconomic conditions, and of course political and social instability. The proliferation of cyber attacks and the increasing complexity are making cybersecurity a top priority for financial institutions. Financial institutions are largely employers of cybersecurity professionals in Africa, but only 24% of the organizations believe they have sufficient resources to counter attacks. Setu, how are you? How are you? Good, fine. Oh, Jeno Mosquito, I'm good. By the way, Jeno, ever since by the way we came back here, he had never said anything. Jeno Mosquito, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Maria is here.
Maria is not here.
It's from meeting.
Ujambo mambo. Hello, Dr.
I understand. I'm gonna make it 2 hours. Next day 2 hours. Okay, we guess.
That's you. Hey. Kati atandise okulya.
Yeah.
Where is Maria? Yeah, I'm doing
Yeah. Jeno, Maria is here. Okay. So, njagala akafi yako kamwaka wansi kali otwala emyaka gayagaye ebyokusosola njagala kakawansi kokka
Nakawakulu.
sagala sabu jako kamakati
Kyagala savu. Ate nga mbadde ngaleeteddeko.
jama kamakati
Kyawe kikabula. Okulya.
abakonde n'olugalo
Omugo. Babayise. Babayise agajula okulya. Alina agawa ogwayo. Mhm. So the issue of the cyber, the issue of the cyber, it comes from why are you doing that?
I'm so sorry, Nikolai.
It does,
You get so so cybersecurity has concerns in African countries. When we look at telecommunications, telecommunication is the second most attractive industry for cyber criminals, and for good reason. The significant increase in customers of telecommunication companies across the continent of Africa allows the attackers to have serious impact on both individual companies and entire and other and people, individual companies and people in Africa. So this increase in customers also leads to availability of more user information, including personal and payment data, as well as the data about connection. So criminal attack organizations to disrupt their operations and demand ransom for restoring system, as well as to steal user data. So in February last year, cyber criminals attacked the internet service provider of course, RSE Web. The criminals encrypted the company's data and demanded a ransom. So the attack caused a significant disruption in the services, leaving some customers unable to access the internet for several days. By the way, it might be even the case why the mobile money in Uganda was disrupted.
RAS is the Republic of South Africa.
This, it might be like MTN in Uganda was attacked 3 days ago because we couldn't access mobile money, we couldn't access our money
You
on the
couldn't
phone.
withdraw, you couldn't get airtime, you can't buy anything on your phone, yeah.
So experts believe that
But they said they were under maintenance.
maintenance
Excuse.
maintenance namna gani? They will never tell you that they have been attacked. They will never. Have you ever heard about any company in Uganda that was attacked? Telecommunication? About actually, whenever they say such things, they say that there were workers that used to work with them within the company that are doing that,
Mm.
which is not true. So experts believe that the company was subjected to large scale of attack on VMware. That is the software, that is the hacking software. So cybersecurity agencies around the world had previously issued warning that attackers were actively targeting VMware software, I mean servers that had not yet installed security updates. So presumably the attack exploited of over CVE 202121 vulnerability in their attack. So companies must take a measure to prevent exploitation of vulnerabilities and occurrence of the non-tolerable events. To achieve this, we recommend paying attention to this management process in the organization, because of course it helps to promptly identify weakness in critical assets as well as eliminate vulnerability that are popular among attackers before they are exploited and cause serious consequences to the company and users.
But at times, these very people who create the software are the ones who are always sort around and create the attack.
Mm,
It's a chain of it's a business chain. Just like when they build computers and then they also build viruses
mm,
in the very computer. So create market for different softwares and for those specific computers.
mm.
So like I said this before that this is much of a business. All right, it's much of
And
making money.
they ask for ransom. Like if you don't give us this money,
Of course, because you want to
yeah,
secure, more money, so you have to give them more money for you to secure. But usually, these very companies that produce this are the ones who end up producing the hacking softwares and also the ones that are, of course, the security softwares. Just like any other thing, this is just a technological game, just like we have the games with the pharmaceutical. They bring the viruses and then they already have the vaccines. They bring shit and they always have the other plans. So I feel like it's more of course, those people wanting more money. Um, we have I explored a little bit on my previous discussion that when it comes to a continent like Africa, I would say there is a traditional one that is Sebesulire Gwanagamba.
mm, I stopped by to say what's up. I'll catch up the lead, break, stay safe.
Thank you, Jiggy Jabba. Hi, back to you. All right, thank you for coming through. Like I was saying, a continent like Africa, where like people don't caution about a lot of things, more especially if they feel like this thing has ever been used. We have too much of what we call branding,
Mm,
which actually has which it does not only affect Africa but probably the entire world.
mm,
I'm going to use an example of iPhones. To me, I believe iPhone is not the best phone, right? But it has that name, it has the branding, and that name that apparently everyone feels like if I get hold of an iPhone, I've, I've held something, right? But there are phones that are good. There are those phones that have strong batteries because if you want a phone that's going to have a strong battery, some good camera, apparently they're fixing the print, the coloring, and all that, the speed and stuff. They're phones that are good, right? But now iPhone made a brand. So whoever is holding an iPhone feels like they're having something special. And I feel like this is what still goes to Africa with these other softwares. I had a friend of mine who was good at softwares, but they always have that fetish. They have that desire. Oh, do you know this big company in the United States? Actually, they're the ones who launched this. They use this. They do that. Um, um, okay, hackers groups. Let's see. They use this. This is what they use. So when you use this software, in the US, we have the largest criminal hacking organization, and that is what Jibijaba has. And yes, we shall go through the hacker group associated with the United States and beyond. We shall definitely come to mention a few of those groups that are known worldwide. So Africa goes in and embraces those, but little do they know that these softwares they want to use, first of all, are not favorable. They don't have good satellites, they don't have good security. They go ahead and use these very things. Um, when it comes to money, not everyone can be trusted. It is like in the banks of Africa of recent. Okay. Someone will someone will go to a bank and of course save their money because they are so sure that when their money is in a bank, it's so secure and it's protected. And the next time, Abu, you've seen those incidences. Someone goes to the bank to withdraw their money and they cannot access their money. It happened to me like 2 years ago. And actually, I don't have a bank account because I'm someone who gets pissed off so very fast. I cannot trust you and then you start disappointing me with that bullshit. So I went to one of the banks. I think I told you about that story when we passed at that bank. So I had saved my money. It was some good money on my account. I kept on saving that money. I was getting some salary. I saved it there, like, so it had accumulated. And these people, knowing that I wasn't constantly withdrawing this money, I think they used the money or whatever happened. I don't know how it goes. But again, I had something happened so fast that I needed to withdraw some amount of money from my bank. We have what we call money banking agents. So you can go with your ATM card to that agent. They put it in a machine, and they give you cash. So they're almost everywhere. You don't need to go to the big bank. So the moment I went there, in fact, I sent my cousin. I was staying with my cousin at that time, Geoffrey. So when he reached there, he came back. He was like, "I've said that the card is not working." So I was like, "How?" So I had to reach there. The guy told me, "No, the card is not working. You just have to go to the main bank." I reached the main bank. I stayed there for almost like 6 hours. I was so exhausted, very tired, frustrated. I said, my God, I moved from everywhere I was going. Probably they thought I don't know how to use the card. And everyone in the bank was like, let's take you to the ATM machine. Do you know how to use it? I said, I know how to use this card. So the balance was clearly showing me that my money is on the account, but I could not withdraw. That means my money was actually not on the account. Whatever they do, I don't know. So I told them, does this card have a problem? Can't I get another card? So they had to process another card. And I went in to withdraw my money. Still, I said, all right, I want my money right now. So I came so tough on those people. So they had to send me up. There is a lady up there, the same bank who deals with mobile money. She had to give me my money. And everyone was like, it's a huge sum of money. How are you going to move with it in the streets of Kampala? I said, just don't worry about how I'm going to move with this money. I didn't even come with the bag because I didn't expect I'm going to pick all my money. I gave them their card. I took my money away. I've never even gone to a bank. I've never opened another account. Because you cannot be stressing me like this with my own money. So this is that they did, but I cannot be stupid to do that again.
There are these online creditors.
Those idiots.
Like after making a lot of profits, they block you.
Oh.
They block you from accessing money.
I remember.
They block you from accessing money. After paying your 270, they blocked you.
Wait, was it 270? Was it not 300?
370.
370.
They blocked everything.
I did never experience that yet. So that means that people who were carrying out this theft were the very people in the bank. Why did I tell you this story? No one just comes from a blue. There must be someone with a loose end. So the very people who had stolen my money, and I believe, and another time I saw another woman on TikTok. Except that I think these people have a tendency of the other man who was capturing on a camera. I think that bank is a microfinance. It started as a small microfinance bank. So I think most of their clients are peasants. So these people usually think People who are not educated don't react so fast. Like this other woman, she was crying on camera. She was mentioning she doesn't even know how to mention the money she had on her account. And her document was showing the money was much. She couldn't mention the money. She cannot say the digits. So she was just so confused. These are the kind of people they tend to cheat because they know their clients. So I think when they saw that Maria is not withdrawing money, maybe they thought I'm a certain peasant in the village who is keeping my money there, piling it for Christmas. They didn't know. They were joking. Sure. Anyway, so why these very people that people trust are the very people who do these very games, like I said before. So we go ahead and of course buy we buy the softwares and everything that is going to help us of course for different purposes because we have softwares for different purposes. Finance, of course, communication. We have the e-commerce. We have banking and all that. So, if at all we do get these softwares and of course use them for different purposes, the very people who built these are the ones who built the virus that is going to hack, or that they are the very people who are going to hack it. There you I came a long time ago, you know, most creative. I came a long time. I even saw you. I'd want to bring some BBQ for INNOSSETU. So these are the very people. But when it comes to a country like Africa, I said it before that in Africa, people don't even understand the laws that govern this. People are less informed. There is a little sensitization about the use of these stuff. Some already just come, and that's why we have a lot of viruses running through people's computers. You see, they don't know what to do, what not to do, or which websites to go to, which websites not to go to, how hackers reach in, and stuff like that. So, in a country like Uganda or in a nation like Africa, where people don't care to sensitize the world or the nation about use of different things, there is a high misuse of computers. There is high misuse of these softwares. There is a lot of negligence that a lot of companies don't usually take heed, and unfortunately most, because before I purchase a software that is so sensitive like that, we should have a memorandum of understanding, and some of these memorandums don't even work. All right, they don't even work in Africa because there are some softwares you buy that come with a guarantee, that come with the warranty of a given duration. All right, because if I call something is bad, people wouldn't be buying it. If I call them to buy something that is going to put my business at a risk, then I'm definitely not going to buy it. So it comes with the warranties that we are giving you time. If you do this and that, probably if something happens and probably a hacking happens or something like this happens to your business, then we are accounted accountable. Or if something happens in such a manner, such kind of memorandum, such kind of things that actually come with benefits of such kind of softwares, Africans don't know about that. Africans don't even we just go ahead and just take. And I even don't know whether I don't know whether these laws also work in Africa. I think maybe they work for specific countries and maybe for specific companies, because I've not seen African companies having this kind of privileges. But again, they are also part of the consumers of these very softwares. Jibjaba said, right, all software contains backdoors. Example, cookies, True commentary, I was very simple. IGMO. So meko bali ababi. So hacking organizations. So there are very many hacking organizations like the Anonymous, which originated in 2003. The Anonymous is a decentralized group that advocates for privacy rights. They are known for DDoS cyber attacks against political figures, foreign governments, and religious groups. Then we have Chaos Computer Club, that is usually known as the CCC, the Triple C, which was founded in 1981. Of course, this Triple C is the Europe's largest association of hackers with over 7,700 registered members. They focus on various aspects of technology and security. Right? Like I said, these hackers are usually the ones who focus on security. As they create the security, the hackers also create the attacking software. So it is always about business. So you cannot be doing one thing. We have a very good example with the pharmaceutical companies where, of course, they do the drugs and they do the sicknesses or the viruses. Now there is another that is known as the cult of the dead cow, the CDC, which of course was founded in 1984 in Lubbock and Texas. The CDC is a computer hacker and DIY media organization. Of course, they have a rich history of activism and exploration of digital boundaries. And then we also have the Equation Group. Equation Group is the group that was suspected to be the offensive operations wing of the U.S. National Security Agency, that's NASA. Of course, the Equation Group is involved in the advanced cyber operation. So there is a claim that the Equation Group is the offensive operation wing of the U.S. National Security Agency. Then we have the Fast Bear. That's a Russian cyber. That's a Russian cyber spion group, known for its sophisticated attacks and affiliations with Russian intelligence agencies. Let's not forget GOTC Security, which is or known as the GOTSEC. Of course, not it is a loosely knit nine-person gray who wears a hat hacker, who wears a hat. So this group also specializes in uncovering security flaws. So apparently, most of these hacking groups were created to, of course, most of them to invade and hack to get some, of course, at a certain advantage. By the way, some hidden truth behind a lot of criminal offenses and stuff like that. But yeah, and still, in this kind of things, we cannot fail to find the dirty games they are playing as well. And then we have the Hafnam, the Hafnium. That's association with the Chinese interest. The Hafnium was responsible for the 2021 Microsoft Exchange server data breach. Of course, this is a Chinese organization. Then we have the Hive and many others that, of course, work. And for them, they will still say they are registered groups, or they are groups that are known and they are doing a lot of good things. But still, like I said, when it comes to hacking someone's privacy, then there is a lot that, of course, is done, and you can never tell. So through these very things, we see a lot of blackmail. We are seeing a lot of leaders doing, stupid things, and we really don't know why. But these very hackers have a lot of data, a lot of information about prominent people that, of course, they use to blackmail these very people to end up doing probably a lot of things that the world doesn't know. Yes, you can make. Hmm. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, boy. Check that. Okay. And I would have black about is it there?
No, only be a guess. Only we get.
So could be right. Tubireka awo tugenda kusukka ku budde bwa bulijjo emyaka yakikoze akigendere n'enkya gomanya agenda kikola kuba bwehaddemu kati ensaati sigeza ziweze essatu kigala otandikidde si kwasatu ezireeso
Eziyitamu
tugirawo bumeka
kumi mu ttaano.
ayogerako
So, um, like we have a lot of hacking softwares that ng'eggalawo
ebyakagalawo
ng'ebiggwawo. So when we look at government institutions target for attackers according to this industry, we see that encountered for 17% of successful attacks on organizations in Africa in 2022. When you go to government institutions, are significant objectives of urban infrastructure, which makes them a frequent target for archivists. So another important point is that the government agents store data about the citizens. So in the spring, as a result of an attack by the Black Cat Group, the internal network of the African Union headquarters was paralyzed. So, and the attackers managed to spread malware to more than 200 computers. This incident occurred 10 days after the closing of the annual summit of the organization, which brings together the heads of the continental states. So, had the attackers struck earlier, such as an important event and the African Union could have been disrupted, restoring the system required the intervention of the experts from Interpol and Afripol and the African Bank. So when we go to retail, we see that in attacks on organizations in the trading industry, the attackers are primarily focused on stealing customer data. So particularly person and payment information. So in African regions, cyber criminals are able to steal credential information in 86% of the successful attacks against the organization in trade sector. We see that last year in May, cyber criminals managed to steal about $3.7 million customer 3.7 million customer records, sorry, from a major pharmacy retailer. So these came pharmacies, that's what it was called. So in this incident, attackers were able to gain access to the data by compromising the third-party service provider. While researching the world's current cyber threats, we regularly actually come across things like success attacks on organizations in which attackers manage to compromise the supply chain or trusted communication channels. So we see that this method was used in 4% of the successful attacks on organization in Africa and was most popular in the trade industry. According to the 8% of the attacks on the trade industry, 2/3 of the successful attacks that stated the compromising a trusted party resulted in leaks of credential information, and 4 in every 10 cases led by disruption to the organization of the core activities of the industry. So when building protection against cyber attacks, it is actually important to take into account not only your own security, but also the security of partners, suppliers, and contractors. For me, I recommend setting like equal requirements for information security of your counterparties as your own infrastructure. So when we go to, we know that cyber criminals target the industrial sector due to the importance of the technological process, as well as the scale of impact both on individual companies, on the entire industry, regions, and countries. So we see that advanced technologies and the use of digital services and software increase the chances of attackers of finding way to penetrate the company and initiate non-tolerable events. We see that in 2022, as a result of the attack on the electric company in Ghana, customers of the country's largest electricity supplier were unable to purchase electricity. Some residents experienced power outages and for several days due to the disruption of certain systems. So, successful attacks, cyber attacks can cause power outages in the entire areas. For example, earlier in 2021, an attack on electricity supply in Ghana Grid Company Limited in the West Africa left residents in Ghana without electricity for over 5 days. Believe me, all this. So one may ask, like, who is attacking Africa, and how are they able to attack Africa? In attacks on organizations, criminals most often target computers, servers, and network equipment. Web resources are targeted in 5% of the attacks. Typically, in those cases, attackers manage to successfully carry out the DDoS attacks. So, Maria talked about the DDoS attacks. So attackers used malware in 4 out of every 5 successful attacks on organizations. So every second incident, 52% involved in social engineering, and of course, 37% of the successful attacks vulnerabilities were exploited, and each 10th case, attackers were able to gain access to organizations' resources by compromising credentials they had got. So, in attacks on individuals, the most popular method remains of social engineering, along with use of various types of malware. We see that in the successful attacks, cyber criminals managed to compromise the supply chain. For example, the Lemon Group discovered by the trend of micro, we see that to conduct fraudulent activities, experts believe that in this case, the attackers managed to, of course, compromise the software supply chain. When we talk about malware, most often several types of malware were used in a single attack. So most common are the malicious remote access tools. We see that ransomware, loaders, and spyware. Uh, in attacks on organizations, the attackers mainly distributed malware via email messages containing malicious attachments. Systems were, some people just find like these attackers into email. You find something like an email, you click in email, they start following you now and then. So systems were also infected with malware, which when organization resources were compromised, for example, by exploiting vulnerabilities in the network perimeter. So, in the case of private individuals, malware mainly found its way onto their devices through fraudulent websites, emails, and social networks. So, the popularity of attacks using malware in Africa is also influenced by the fact that on the dark web, malware is actively sold and in some cases even provided free of charge by cyber criminals. For example, one of the ads offered for sale are the heavy ransomware used in the attack of course, the Bank of Zambia in May 2002 and 22. So another remote control malware known as the Venom Rat can be rented for a month or a year for an annual license. So the criminal charge of 150 100 and 550 USD dollars while using the malware for a month costs $350. So hosts are offering free access to the source code of various malware families, including the remote access uh, Trojan named as the Blacknet, were also found. We note that we should note that the malware mentioned above was used by the operator group. The attackers usually gained initial access through phishing emails, after which they deployed a wide range of malware, including the NetWire, Bitrat, Agent Tracler, and Remocos Neutrino. So, ransomware, what is ransomware? We see that attackers, we see how different attackers have been made on African continent. All these are mentioning, these were not made in Africa. When we talk about Hive is not the company of Hive is like it's not in Africa. These are external characters. These are external people that are from Africa that are making all these things and are selling them to Africans at cheaper prices. However, some of them are provided for free. So ransomware, a third of attacks using malware aimed at organizations involved ransomware. So the most frequent victims were trading companies, followed by the industrial sector and financial organizations. So the most common method of distributing ransomware is through compromising computers, servers, and network equipment. This indicates that the low security of companies, namely vulnerabilities in the network perimeter and configurations, flaws in externally available services. Note that we should note that the ransomware operators often purchase the credentials of the compromised companies from access blockers. So, so the data links, when we talk about data links, how data linked or data links through cyber insecurity, cyber security relations, you see that in successful attacks on organizations, attackers aimed at steal personal data of stolen information, so trade secrets and credentials. Credential information was most often stolen from financial and trade organizations. So, in attack on individuals, credentials, personal data, and payment informations were the types of data most frequently compromised. So, in a number of attacks, the attackers stole credential information as part of a cyber espionage campaign. The attackers are also active on the dark web, sharing databases of the employees and customers of the company. So these archives contain such personal data as full names, address, phone numbers, and emails.
That's why I said these attackers, there is usually a loose end. Mushobora kugira bwatyo.
So for example, at the beginning of 2023, cyber criminals made the database of how Bella University students are publicly available. Available. The data included the email address, name, phone numbers, and addresses of more than 50 students. So they made it available to everyone. Everyone had access. Everyone had chance to access everything. So Cyber criminals also offer data for sale. So the obtained information is used for fraud in cyber espionage campaigns. For example, one posting advertised data or email addresses of the employees of Nigerian Ministry of Justice. So, according to the cyber criminals, this information can be used by phishing attacks, malware distribution, or for espionage. So, the African region is regularly targeted by various groups of multi-stage, well-planned and well-organized attacks targeting a specific industry or company are called advanced persistent threats. So, to conduct such attacks, hackers form criminal groups known as the persistent, known as the advanced persistent threats. So, the main objectives of the majority of these groups is espionage. Let's actually look at some of these groups that focus on that. One of them is the of course the witch tea. This group, also known as a looking flock, focuses on attacks on government institutions, financial organizations, industrial companies, charitable organizations, and representatives of diplomatic missions in the Middle and East Africa. So, I don't know whether you know some other groups that do such.
Mm. There is also the Mustang Panda. It's a Chinese group. Um, it is also known as a TA416 or the Red Delta or the Bronze President. This group targets governments, government institutions, and religious organizations in the United States, Africa, and other countries. There is also the dagger fly. The dagger fly is known as evasive panda of Bronze Island. So there is also alloy taurus. That is also a Chinese cyber spionage. But the Chinese and they are good. Chinese and don't forget the muddy water. So that there are a lot of the muddy water is that the Iranian cyber espionage group is also known as the Earth of Vetela. And we know that this group has been targeting government agencies, including local authorities, telecommunication companies, defense industry enterprises, media, scientific and educational institutes, and oil and gas companies in the Middle East, Asia, Africa, Europe, and other places. Muddy Water has not targeted the United States of America. Jibijaba says that take care. Thank you so much, Jibijaba. Take care too.
Oh yeah, no, nego tutandikire ekyo atukola kiro usanga akola kiro
Oyinza okuba olowooza nsiraamu nentuula nenzannya. You think it is like that?
oba bw'olaba otandika endowooza
Anti blaming nga agamba mba nina byenkola ovaayo nga neerabira. If it wasn't, wandale tokyogera nnyo bwekyo.
So there are also
Dakoze nakugambako kogwe ki bw'ojja tandika okwefumbiramu
era nsobola
watukola.
era nsobola So the DDoS attacks, we see that DDoS attacks are also one of the most common threats, with governments and financial institutions in Africa regularly targeted. For example, in the early 2023, we see a group of cyber criminals known as the mysterious team of Bangladesh carried out a series of DDoS attacks on Ethiopian institutions. Among the victims were government agencies and electricity industry enterprises. The Ethiopian government is portal and the Ministry of Health and private commercial or cooperative bank. The group later successfully attacked institution in Senegal. Remember when our Bangladesh now balinganga bagundi. They are like Indians. Those people are like Indians. They don't have what to do. However, when things concerning technology, those people, Abayisirayiri, Abayindi, n'aba Bangladesh, they can't be taken for granted. So, in early February, another group of team attacked the website of Maputo Central Hospital in, of course, Mozambique. So, we see that in June the same year, the entire DDoS campaign was discovered targeting the financial and government institutions in Uganda. Among the victims were the Bank of Uganda, the Stock Exchange, the Parliament, as well as the many ministries in Uganda. I know you heard about that. So, social engineering. Social engineering attacks are one of the primarily cyber threats to organizations and individual both and individual uh, people in Africa. So, for example, in South Africa in 2022, the organization experienced phishing attempts. Interpol also includes social engineering in the list of the main threats in the region. So, attackers use a variety of social engineering tactics, automated tools, and spam bots to maximize their chances of success. So, aggravated by the poor cybersecurity awareness among users, the risk associated with the phishing attacks remains exceptionally high. So we see that African companies like African companies conducted by No before, we see that in every 3 employees clicks on the phishing link, those people send links or otherwise does what attackers request. Have you ever seen those links on WhatsApp for that? Some of the links, and when you conclude with those links, they don't give you that. And very many people share those links. They tell you share to people that if you share to 20 people, you're going to get data. You share to 20 people in your phone. You share to 20 people in your phone, but at the end of sharing, you don't even get the data. But you have shared to people. Even those people are going to share people. So we see that social engineering is used. Social engineering is used has successful attacks on organization and attacks on individuals in Africa. So for organization, the most common type of phishing attack is sending emails with malicious links and attachments. So about 29% of the cases, fake sites are used that they may imitate, for example, corporate authentication pages well known as banks or payment systems. The availability of ready-made phishing tools or services on the dark web makes things much easier for attackers, allowing even those without technical knowledge to quickly create descriptive email campaigns and fraudulent websites. The financial sector is the most frequent target of phishing attacks. So we see that we see that we see that financial institutions in French-speaking African countries was this kind of stuff was active for at least 2 years. The attackers sent emails with malicious attachments to employees of financial institutions in Ivory Coast, Morocco, Cameroon, Senegal, and Togo. So to make the email appear continued, the attacker used domain address that closely resembled the addresses of the other well-known African financial institutions. So such as the Tunisian Foreign Bank and the recent attacks, they replaced the sender's email address with the local insurance company. So individuals mostly become victims of the phishing attacks by visiting fraudulent websites or encountering cyber criminals on social networks and instant messengers. Mhm. I don't know what you mean. Again. Want somebody. So business email compromise. So another type of attack that uses social engineering method is the business email compromise. So in this attack, criminals gain access to an email account of organization's employee and use it for their own purposes, usually fraud or theft of money or data. For example, the attacker may intervene in the correspondence with a partner company and send new banking details to a transfer or impersonate the head of the organization and instruct the accounting department that makes a payment of a certain account. So the damage of the BEC attack can run in $2 million. So thus we see that the African region is experiencing a significant increase in the BEC attack. Attackers usually pose a senior executives, government officials, or business partners to deceive their victims. So both small and large organizations are targeted. Okimanyi olayinza okusindika email oli nalowooza bosi we yagisindise n'asayinira. So the great danger of BEC attacks lies in the fact that the attackers in Africa, the attackers are well acquainted with the, of course, particulars of the person. Although members of the BEC group are relatively easy to identify and the movements of funds can be traced, many factors may make it difficult for law enforcement agencies to apprehend the criminals in African countries. So these include the territorial distribution of criminal groups, the international nature of cyber attacks, delayed detection of attacks, and lack of unified incident notification mechanisms in Africa. So I think we shall not exceed here. I will thank everyone that has been watching us since the first hour. For those that have commented in, uh, General Mosquito, thank you for being here today with us. Jib Jabba, thank you for always being here with us, and thank you for always for your great comments. For those that are watching us on our YouTube, thank you for watching. Those are watching us from Black Hot Fire Network Radio Station, that is Facebook. Thank you for watching. Those that are watching us from, of course, Twitter, thank you for watching. It is almost 26 minutes past 9 in Kampala, Uganda. 26 minutes past 9 in Uganda. Hope you guys are doing good out there. Thank you for watching and for subscribing. If you're watching from Facebook for your first time, Like and follow the page, Blackwood Fire Radio Station. Twitter, if YouTube you're watching for the first time, subscribe and like our videos. Um, it has been me, Inosetu.
Africa Maria. Thank you so much, Jibijaba, John Mosquito, the siren. Those ones who are always silent, I call them the silent majority. Always watching, I'm not saying shit, but of course watching all the time. Thank you so much. Yeah, we recognize you. We don't know who you are, but of course we do recognize. At times, the watching number is usually bigger than the ones commenting. So, the silent majorities, thank you so much for always loving and supporting Blackwood Fire Network. So, when they comment, take care, GB Jabba. I saw that. See you later, guys. John Mosquito, see you later. Till tomorrow. Most definitely. It has been long. And yeah, thank you so much for loving Blackwood Fire Network. See you guys tomorrow. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, evening. It is a good night from